This episode has spoiler alerts in it, so if you haven't seen the film yet and don't want it spoiled, then go watch the film right now, or just skip this episode and I'll catch you again next week. The film wasn't supposed to end quite as it did. At least, it wasn't intended to. The thing I have learned about creative projects is that they have a life all of their own, and sometimes they will pull you in a direction they want to go, and not necessarily how you want it to go. Such was the ending of the film. In the epilogue of the film, I go on to tell you about other road trips I had taken since the road trip to redemption. It was to show that my life, just like everything else, has moved on. I met Jennifer Thomas. I met Lindsay Sterling. I went to Utah and Arizona, and I had many adventures. I then go on to talk about how on all those road trips, I never reach the horizon no matter how fast I go. I then tie it into the metaphor about life and how one day all of us will make it to the horizon, meaning that's when we die. This is when the film ends, with the possibility of showing my death. Don't believe me? Well, let me show you. The epilogue shows time-lapse drives of all the highways I traveled. The last one you see is at Zion National Park in Utah, where the road goes into a tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and with a flash we are taken back to where I am walking on the road, just like at the beginning of the film. And as a side note, this completes the circle of the film, as described in episode 11. At first I thought it was a nice transition to close out the film. However, pay attention to what is going on and what is said. As we go through the tunnel and into the light, I'm talking about how all of us eventually reach the horizon. And when the transition completes, I'm now talking about how when I reach the horizon and how I will rest my spirit if I can. It is then that we are taken back to the beginning of the film where I'm walking on the road, and as the scene progresses, it appears that I reach the horizon. And when it appears that I do reach the horizon, the light flare that has been ever present throughout the film finally captures me, and the film ends. It is one of those things where I didn't intend for it to end like that, but for some reason in the editing bay, I was nudged in that direction. It seemed like the film wanted to end that way. When I looked at it in the editing bay, I kept thinking to myself, did I die at the end of the film? So in answer to that question, I don't know if I die at the end of the film. A very strong argument can be made for it. The more I watched that scene, the more I became convinced that maybe I did die at the end. But, as with all art, it is in the eye of the beholder. So what do you think? Did I die at the end of the film, or did I go on to make more adventures? Thank you for watching, and thank you for the gift of your time.